Hello people, and welcome back to episode 2 of Palaven, our vanilla Cities Skylines build. Hope you're having a wonderful day. And last episode we got up and started. We premiered this as well, so thank you for everyone that stopped by. We had a really fun time in the chat, and a lot of you seem to enjoy the new style that we're going for here. And yeah, I am as well. Really enjoyed this little bit of part detailing we did at the end of last episode too. So, you know, thank you for all the support on that. And in today's episode, the second part, we are going to be taking a look at our first kind of major industrial area. So I spent the vast majority of the first episode tearing into this monstrosity right here. It's super ugly, it's very heavily pollutive, and we're going to do something to change that today. So right here on the left hand side of the highway, as we kind of come into the city here, we have a bunch of trees. And I think this is going to be where we're going to play with our first little forestry area. So we might as well go ahead and get started. So we're going to be placing in obviously some extractor buildings to actually get the raw resource, and a bunch of processing buildings too to kind of turn them into goods, and we'll probably get as far as placing in the first factory as well. So we'll go ahead and make this whole thing a industrial area, and then we'll start to plan out a little bit of a road network. So I think we'll start this area off by actually drawing in a little kind of second connection on this side of the highway here. So we'll hook him in right there, and we'll bring him out a touch, and then we'll hook it into there. That should be a good little space. And we're going to be able to do some really nice decorating around these things as well, so it'll look really nice once it's all kind of come together, I think. So we'll just draw in kind of a really small, cute roundabout that we can do some nice detailing with as well. We can hook our little exit system in here, so as they kind of come into our industrial area, which the entrance will be here, they'll have the option to either get straight back onto the highway or head over this side where they'll find the factory and a couple of processing buildings as well, which will make look really nice up alongside the highway too. So it should be quite spicy come the end. So we'll hook this in. Also, we can just get a pretty much a straight connection right there, which is kind of perfect really. We'll turn off our traffic lights, of course, when I have the road tool not selected. Fantastic. Let's have a look at the terrain here, because obviously we're kind of playing with this little rock, so we're just about to rise up there, so we'll keep that on whilst we place in our roads, just so we can kind of see where we're heading up to here. So that seems to be a sensible little connection. There's a little bit of a rise in the road, but it's nothing too major, and then we can put in some processing buildings, or extractor buildings around here rather. Okay, now what I do want is, I want the main forestry building to be kind of facing the highway. So I want it to be along here, so as people kind of driving out of the city, they're driving past it and you can kind of get a good look at it. So let's grab our forestry main building. And if we place this here, yeah, we're going to generate our little sawmills and stuff. So I think that's a pretty nice view as to kind of a nice little exit out of the city. We'll be driving past this little cabin, some trees and a little yard here. That's gonna be pretty nice. So now we'll bring this road up, and then we'll hook him into the roundabout as well. And then we'll start to discuss some little plantations. So for right now, we only have access to the small tree plantation. This is fine. We'll drop a couple of these in, and then we'll take this road up until this one. This will give us a nice little block, right? Now, they're going to do some nice little detailing things here as well, so we do need some water into this area. Let's just kind of bring him down. No, it's actually it's probably a little bit more efficient with the water pipe placement. I'm sure it annoyed a few people in the first episode. So we'll kind of bring it down a little ways here. There we go. Super. And then we know we're going to expand down here as well, so we may as well just draw this in right now. Okay, so let's tidy up some of these trees. I don't really want any kind of random trees within this area. We will place some in, but for right now, we're just going to have them kind of by themselves. So we'll change all these up to conifers, so it kind of blends in with the natural surrounding. And we'll start to get kind of a real farmland feel here. Well, not farmland, but you know, like they're farming the trees for experience. Let's have a little look at some detailing. So we do get a forestry fence with this kind of particular type of area, and it's actually a really nice fence. And what I'm going to do is we're going to draw in just some very light detailing, and then what we can do between them is if we come in and grab ourselves a dirt path. So I often find, you know, when you're drawing in these industrial areas, they can become very ugly very quickly. But if you just take your time to, you know, draw in a fence around the extractors or the processor buildings or the main buildings even, you'll notice a real difference. So we'll just come back to snap into the angle here, and then we can draw him in. So the path isn't going to get a vast amount of use, because, you know, there's not going to be that many people walking around here. But rather than just having the extractor buildings by themselves like that, they have a little more purpose with a little box around them. Fantastic. So let's have a look what else we have to play with here. Have a small log yard. Now again, this would be nice up alongside the highway. But we do also have the sawmill as well, which would look quite nice. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to try and keep all of our processing buildings and factories, at least for the wood, for the forest industry, on this side of the highway. Because there is one that's polluted. The one we unlock in a moment at the level 2 is the biomass pellet, and this guy does produce ground pollution. So it's not something I really want over here, where we have lots of kind of lush trees and nice things. So we'll probably kind of mix and match them a little bit. So we'll go for a log yard. And this guy will just slowly fill up with logs, and again it'll add to that nice almost like drive-by feature as kind of people come in. Or well, I guess they're heading out of the city from this angle, right? But they're just going to have a nice little view. Drive past some stacked up logs. You know, it's something I always advocate in cities, is check the view from different angles as you place stuff. If it looks a little bit wrong or kind of strange, then, you know, just go ahead and change it. So I'm going to continue my little fence design here, and we're going to draw it up, right up alongside the highway. Let's get it as far as we can go. And that's just a nice little border. We can get some trees and stuff in here, maybe a couple of rocks. Bit of overgrowth perhaps, who knows, we may even treat ourselves to some overgrowth. And then again, if we wanted to, we can also kind of carry it up to this direction and just carry that border on up until the roundabout. So the fences really do help just to kind of draw a very clear marker around what it is that we want to do. Already we're not looking too bad, I don't think. And I think what we'll do is once we unlock kind of the small sapling fields, we'll have some nice little kind of sapling rows up against the highway, which will be a really nice kind of view into this forest industry. And then what we can do in a future episode is kind of bring our town down here and have like a little forestry town that just accompanies our little industrial area. So now we'll begin to produce forest product from our small tree plantations, and then they'll be stored up at our small log yard or exported out of the city, which is fine. However, I don't like this industry anymore. This is awful, and we don't like this. So once we hit level 2, we'll also unlock the furniture factory, which will be great. And then we'll also grab the biomass pellet plant, and then this guy can live on this side of the highway too. And we'll do that kind of same rule here. We'll make sure that, you know, it's a nice view up from the highway. You're driving past these kind of really impressive industrial buildings rather than just endless generic zoned industry, which can look pretty bad, at least in my opinion. I'm not a huge fan of this. I tend to use it just for kind of decorating industrial areas as opposed to it being the industrial area. That makes sense. So we can see now that the trucks in the industrial area, they are kind of coming in. So what I actually want to do is force this into a one-way loop. So let's upgrade this into a one-way. So kind of, they come into the industrial area, right? They either head to the storage yard, or they come in the one-way loop, grab their respective resource, bring it down, then come back down here and export it, or they come and store it. So there's a variety of different things that they can do with it, and then once we have those processor buildings in as well, we'll be able to process it and turn it into paper and plain timber and stuff. So it'll be very nice, we're very happy. So, sawmill, where do we want you? And eventually we'll have buildings around here to hook the power in, so you know the power cables won't be here forever. And then what we can do is, rather than just leaving this as grass, I'm just going to draw in just a little bit of a pathway. So it's almost like an extension of this texture, you know. So it's not essential, but it's a nice little way, and maybe just a couple little trees and bushes behind our sawmill here. Nothing too fancy, just something nice and simple. You know, as opposed to just placing that along a road and leaving it be, just taking a couple of minutes to draw in a path, a couple of trees and bushes, I think it just fits in a lot more, a lot nicer. We'll definitely get lots of detail in this forest industry. They're actually really easy to kind of detail, they're super good. So now we have our sawmill. You can see we're producing plain timber now. I'm pretty sure it's pronounced planed. I had someone comment on an episode of, I think it was the modular build where we did forest industry. Someone said it's actually pronounced planed instead of planned. But you guys know that my English is awful, so it's fine. So wonderful. Let's take a look at what we have. So we have the capacity for the workers. See, we have 166 spaces. We need 150 to hit level 2. And the resources will just go up kind of as they're produced. And yeah. So whilst we're waiting for the forest industry to hit level 2, by the way guys, get some suggestions down in the comments for names. I'll run with the most liked comment for the name of this area. If you have an inside joke you want to pop in there, feel free, whatever you want to do, I'm happy with it. So just move the power and all the utility stuff down here, so the water treatment's over here, power, you know, this will eventually have its own dedicated area. But for right now I want to kind of restructure this road network into something kind of similar to mirror this, and something that's going to be suitable for our processing buildings to actually use. So we'll set the game on pause temporarily, and then we'll take out all this road network. Probably up until here would be a good point. Although we do need to remember to actually hook those utilities back in, otherwise we won't be getting any fuel delivered to our power plant. And then we'll take away these buildings. I really do hate the radioactive waste that comes with the pollution. Such a nasty colour, isn't it? But you know, there is a mod for that, as always. Super. So I think we'll run with the same kind of principle that we've got going on here. We'll have a little entry point that kind of comes off this kind of way, and they have easier access into it. It'll also be a nice little kind of mirrored effect here as well, which will be pretty cute. So we'll bring this down up to this point, and then we'll hook in, switch our directions around, and then we can grab a little bit of a road like this. Let's come ahead and just delete that zoning. And then we'll go ahead and grab our curve road tool again, so we can check some little things here just to make sure we're kind of keeping symmetrical, if you're bothered about it. So from the start of the roundabout to the entry point is 330, so we can measure the same distance here. Obviously you want to make sure you're doing it with your one-way roads, otherwise it's kind of pointless. And then we'll have something that looks a little bit like that. Bring them in there, and then hook them in like that. So rather now, if our industrial people want to come straight into the industry area, they have that option. They don't always have to go through the roundabout, and it also leaves this road a little freer as well to kind of do something later on down the line when we expand into the rail over here. Probably have some kind of cargo export hub over here, I imagine, at some point. Super. So, let's come back to our industrial road. And now I think I'm going to carry on this one-way system again. So we'll bring it out by 20 tiles. That'll be rather nice. So because we've deleted just so much industry, you'll notice that our industrial demand has spiked. Now the industry's DLC stuff will satisfy this demand, but not as much as kind of regular zoned industry will. It's kind of no, it's a lot slower. Now we've nearly hit the resource as well, which would be cool. But I want to kind of put some supplementary support buildings in here that aren't actually part of the forest industry, but still look forest. So we'll kind of discuss what I mean by that. So what we'll do is we'll carry on our little one-way flow system here. We'll bring it round this side and here as well. And then we can hook back into our little mini roundabout. And then we've got a nice little feeder system in here. And then we should get some nice little traffic flows around this point as well. Again, we'll take away all this stuff and let's come into our small industrial road. And I want to draw out by a measurement of, let's say 10 tiles. And then we'll come across by 10 again. And we'll just give ourselves a little block like that. And then we can do the same thing here. And then I might just bring this down into a dead end. Okay. And then maybe a little road. Maybe just try and change the angle of this one. Maybe just one like that. So it's a couple of little basic grids. Then we're going to come into our districts tool. We're going to paint out a district. Now if you want, you can kind of paint this thing out, the whole thing, but it's not really what I want to do. I want this to be quite a micro district. So this is different to the industrial area. And then with just kind of these roads here up until the roundabout and probably up along here as well. I'm going to specialize this industry as forestry. So this is what was around before the days of the industry's DLC. This is how you kind of specialize your industrial areas. And then I'm going to draw out some rather specific zonings here. So, you know, we've done this a million times before. Very specific zoning will kind of yield better results in the future. And then we're just going to wait for a couple of these guys to spring up because they shouldn't take too long. Let's just go ahead and draw in a dirt road in front of our garbage dump here, just so he has a connection. So these buildings will spawn in as forestry, well, as industrial rather, but they look forestry, right? We can see they have like this little barn here because it specializes forestry. It's got some nice like cut wood in it. There's another one of them over here. And then there's like a little barn here, like a little storage shed. So using the two industrial types of kind of, you know, DLC industry and vanilla industry will really help yield a much more detailed industrial area. And you can do this for all four of them. You know, you can do farming, oil and ore as well. They all have this kind of old school specialization for the district. You know, and don't forget to integrate them into your builds. You may find that you're getting too many of the same assets spawning in. That's fine. Then you'll say I've got a few too many barns around here. I'm not really happy with that. So what I'll do is I'll just change the zoning size, wait for him to go in, and then draw another one in. And then they'll just kind of come in at different shapes and patterns. You can change it up, find a style that you like. Got a 3x3 here, so maybe I'll go for it's a 3x4, sorry, 4x3. So maybe do a 4x2 right here and see what we get kind of coming in this side. Just see it split itself down now. It's almost like a little support yard for the lumber company. And you know, we'll just kind of see this come to life. We can do the same thing over here as well, which I think we will do. Let's go ahead and we'll kind of stick to that same format. Maybe we will come out with the dirt road here. You know, it would make sense for that dirt road to be kind of in the forest industry. You know, there's lots of kind of mud and gravel and kind of general dirt, I suppose, is the word, for these things to function. Again, what I'll do is zone the whole thing in one go. And then this will just generate us a little kind of supplementary support. So we're getting some of the old school tree farms in here. Like a little sapling field, a wood yard, and a barn. So, you know, put this in alongside your actual extraction buildings, and you know, it will just help with that kind of much more varied ore area, or forest area even. So I'm going to hang around, guys, wait for this one to hit. Actually, is there anything we need to do? I'm pretty sure I saw some low education stuff here. Yeah, so we need to hit up the high school because we're beginning to need some highly educated Sims. So I think what we'll do is we'll continue our road up alongside the school here. We'll make something of a little school park. So let's see some assets that might work in this space. So we can throw in a small park, which would be great. This will have a nice little effect. And rather than kind of extend it out, what we'll do is we'll just kind of box it in along here. And there is one thing I wanted to do as well, was move up the police station a couple of tiles from last episode, just so we can squeeze in the path that kind of flows in this direction. Maybe we can bring it down here as well and do some kind of smaller detail in this part as well. So, we've got our little schools in. Let's go ahead and draw out by 120. And then we'll come across to this one right here. We're leaving 4 tiles in the middle, and this will just be a nice little platform for our school to sit on. So we can go with the high school or the Institute of Creative Arts. I think the Institute is a little kind of too grand for what I'm going for with this area, so I think we'll run with the high school. And then we can get him in just on his own little road, and then we'll come back and detail this up kind of when we expand this suburb. And kind of factor this in. So yeah, that'll sort out the education problems. Fantastic. And I'm going to hang around, guys, wait for this to pop up to level 2, and then we'll discuss some processing stuff. And just like that, we have hit the kind of the next level here. So that's going to unlock us the biomass pellet plant, a furniture factory, a sawdust storage, some worker barracks, and a small tree sapling field, which is fantastic news indeed. I've also gone ahead and added in a couple of more zoned industry in here. You know, nothing too major. Might even just carry on with a couple of little small ones, kind of here and there, just so you know. You can kind of see now. I'm not sure if we want to keep this one, but we are actually getting some people using the walking path, which is nice. Didn't expect it, but I guess the workers, they will pick this up. I'm guessing this girl right here. If we grab her, yeah. So she's working at the small tree plantation. So they are getting some nice use, which is cool to see people kind of walking around them. No, yeah. It's not looking too bad. Like this, you know. It's a little storage yard where they're just kind of throwing it on the field next door because it's just ready to waiting to be processed. I hope I'm getting the point across that the integration between the two types of industry works phenomenally well. And I like it. I really do like it. Okay, so let's have a little discussion about some of the processing buildings. So with the biomass pellet plant, we can now start to produce paper. So we'll have it, I guess, about here. Should be fine. So it's good. So it's going to be 20,000. It's a fair old chunk of the budget. But this is going to help the industrial area level up. It's going to provide more jobs. It's going to provide more money because we'll now be exporting paper. And then what we can do is, while we just let the game kind of simulate on a little bit. And do we have any loans ready to take? Yeah, so we can take the 20,000 one. That's fine. It's probably not enough for the factory, I don't think. Oh, it is. Surprising. So 22,000 for the furniture factory. So this will take our planed timber. Oh, sorry, planed timber, which is being produced by our sawmill. I have broken the power again. What am I doing? There we go. My apologies. I need to sort these power lines out. Yeah, so we're taking the plain timber and the paper, and then we are combining it to turn it into furniture, which will make us a nice amount of money. So we'll probably find a nice little spot for this factory to sit somewhere as well. Find there's definitely some room for it. Maybe up alongside the highway here would be really nice. Kind of so as they're driving past the city, they're just met with this big factory. Because at least a lot of the times in England, when you're driving past, or when you're driving on the motorways, you do see a kind of lot of big warehouses and factories and stuff. So we'll begin to kind of rework this road network that's hanging around the highway. Just kind of take some of this back here a little bit, probably up to here as well. And then let's grab our industrial roads again. You can also go kind of totally dirt road for a forestry. It does work quite nicely. This way we've got, you know, the nice kind of logo up alongside, almost like it's advertising itself to people driving past the highway. And we'll just have that nice little factory over here. Have a look at it. So it's making 2,400. It's getting its resources. And that's going to be a tidy little earner as it kind of goes up. And as we start to produce more and more resources, we can up the production rate. If we up the production rate right now, it'll start draining its resources out. And at the minute, it's not got lots of them because we're not producing lots of them. So yeah, I'm just kind of waiting for it to hang around. So obviously now we need to go ahead and hit level 3. We need to wait for the resources. This will just happen over time, of course. However, we need 350 workers in order to hit the next level, and we currently only have the capacity for 236. So that's not not anywhere near where we need to be. We'll start to have a look at this little kind of design I had in mind. So we'll grab a dirt road and we'll come alongside the highway. Let's go for 30 tiles. So with the small sapling fields, you can like change their skin into a greenhouse. Okay, so I've just gone ahead and expanded our residential into these grids that we drew out last episode just to get some more taxpayers in. Because I am spending all my money in one go. I am far too ambitious for the start of this game. Let's kind of have a little discussion about what I'm talking about here with the sapling field designs. So we'll place them in kind of parallel up, so you can leave them like this, right? You know, they look kind of cool. Like do this on a hill, make like a vineyard out of it. That'd be pretty cool. But if we change it to this greenhouse effect, we'll almost have like these little tents that are up alongside the highway, and it's a nice little view from here as well. So what we'll do is we'll fill the rest of this out from like here to here with these little kind of sapling greenhouses, and it'll provide us a really nice view from the highway, which is all kind of what we want down here as well. So it's a little more pollutive, a little more industrial. And over here, it's a little greener. So we'll notice that we're not having enough natural resources, and that's because there are no trees here, of course. However, we can't fix that with forest industry. So we can actually place in our own trees, and it'll count as the kind of product itself. So you can place any tree around here. I think we'll go for something kind of a little bit smaller, and almost place in these little, which ones are these? Tree with leaves number 2. I'm not sure if that's the scientific name of the tree, but either way, it'll just help the sapling field to gather its own natural resources. You can see the warning's gone away now, and then they'll start to siphon it off. And as we kind of repeat this pattern, you know, they'll take more and more. But we're going to be producing, we're going to be providing workspaces, sorry, which is ultimately what we want. So we can see, you know, we're giving 25 workspaces with each one, and we need another 3 of them in order to hit that. So we'll get those in. So we'll go one here, and we'll do another row down here as well, because obviously we'll need to hit level 4 at some point too. So we'll go ahead and plot these in. And then the same thing again, we'll keep our little tree pattern going. It's a nice little border for it as well, I think. It's another layer of decorating that's also useful, which is nice for everyone involved. And we do have enough room just to squeeze them through the middle. And then once we kind of get a good bird's eye view of this thing as well, you know, these little tree patterns will play a part in the decorating side of things too. Looks like we're just about out of water as well. So we'll spend the next kind of wad of money upgrading our water system. Let's kind of get a little view of this thing here. So I hope you guys can see that pattern, right? These greenhouses work really nicely up alongside a highway. And we should have the worker capacity now, right? Yeah, so we got the capacity for 361 workers. We've still got plenty of industrial demand, so these will keep filling up. And you know, we'll hit their produced resources eventually anyway. I did just see we needed more water, so we'll go ahead and plop in another water tower in the roundabout, I guess. Once we kind of have the highway flowing over this roundabout, which we'll do probably in a couple of episodes time, and we've unlocked kind of the bigger water tower at 15,000, we'll kind of use this around the highway to kind of factor in our water services before we eventually kind of build like a pumping / treatment plant down towards one of the water sources over there. So I hope you guys agree, this is already, I mean, minus the coal power plants and the water treatment centre, our industry area is now starting to look a lot nicer. So guys, I'm going to hang around, we're going to stockpile some money, leave the game on 3 speed and go and make some coffee. And we'll come back once we've hit level 3, and we'll see what kind of fun stuff we get to play with then. And during my off-camera antics, we have hit Boomtown, so this is going to give us another tile, public transport and trams, which we cannot wait to get into. We'll definitely do a whole episode on kind of building a tram line and decorating your tram stops. I've got something really cool planned for that. Post service and tours and taxis and ferries. We'll definitely have a good ferry system in this map as well, because there's just so many rivers. It would make sense to do that. Got some ore industry specialization too, which is fun. Bunch of new policies which we'll go over. Let me know, do you guys want kind of an episode where we focus on how to use districts and when and where to use policies? Let me know if that'd be something you'd be interested in. I can't imagine it's too kind of interesting from the viewer point of view, but if you want to see it, we can do it. And a bunch of new roads as well, which is fun, because we can now upgrade these roads and do some lane mathematics as well. Lots of fun stuff. So I've just decided to refine this little bit here as well, just kind of cut them down into individual 2x2 and 2x3 lots. You see there's a little like 1x2 in here as well. So it's almost like props alongside the road, right? And then move some of the larger, bulkier stuff over into this road over here as well. So yeah. So I think what we'll do is, guys, we'll kind of round off the episode by upgrading our roads now that we've unlocked them. So we can come into our highway and we can grab the regular highway road, which is this one right here. And then we can upgrade these. And then what we can do is begin to upgrade these guys into highway ramps. And then we'll also do the same over here as well. And then we'll probably do it here. We'll have this as a 2-lane highway. And then we'll have this one as well. Yeah, I'll probably upgrade that one, I think, too. So now everything's a lot sleeker. It's looking a lot kind of finer. Now we've got some nice lane mathematics going on here as well. So we have the 2-lane highway. And then what we can do, once we get the sound barrier ones as well, the sound barriers look really nice as they kind of converge onto other lanes. They almost get like a little lip on them. But it'll be a couple of milestones yet before we unlock that. This is the next milestone, isn't it? So what we'll do is we'll begin to kind of plan out our bridge here. So I think I'm going to come out by... We'll come out by 10. And then we'll come up by 10 again. And then using our smallest incline, we'll begin to climb up. And then we can mirror the same thing on this side as well. And then we'll clear out some of these trees. We'll do our own tree detailing with the highway here. But now it's much higher speeds. Everyone's going to be happy. We could even keep this one here as a 2-lane if we wanted to. Kind of like we have with this one. So you can see the flow of the lane mathematics now. There's 2 enters here. If they want to go that way, they're in the right lane. If they're going straight on, they're in the left lane. And kind of vice versa here too. So that's a nice little upgrade to the road network now we've got those roads. So there's a problem that has arisen during our building of the wonderful forest industry over here. One is we need a little more population, and two is that population is beginning to die, which is represented by a little death symbol, little skull and crossbones over here. So what we'll do is we'll make a cemetery. So cemeteries are obviously used for collecting and storing the dead. However, I'm really not a fan of just cemeteries placed along a road like this. You know, in my kind of top 5 wishes for Cities Skylines 2 video, we talked about kind of how you can hopefully do zonable death care in Cities 2. So what we'll do is we're going to draw out a little road and we're going to make a little dedicated cemetery area. So we'll come out with a little dirt road and we'll bring it out probably up to here. So I know with this space behind the commercial I'm not going to be doing too much width if it's not just going to become more suburb. So what we'll do is we'll make this a cemetery. So we'll come into our cemetery right here and we'll place... We'll go for 2 right now. 1 would be enough. But 2 will be okay, I think. What we do is we just clear out a bunch of these trees around it, and then we can factor in our kind of fence and path detailing that we do kind of all the time to help things fit in a little bit better. So just having it separated away from the road, let's come ahead and grab our fence stuff. So I'll come and use, I think I'll go with the park fence. It's probably going to be the most natural looking, I think. And then what we'll do is we'll just almost draw in like a little path. So let's get the path in first. I think we'll go for the nature path without trees. I think that'll be a good shout. And we'll bring him around the back of the cemeteries. And then we can eventually hook him down into what will become the town centre in one of the episodes. And then if we have a look elsewhere, we can also have a little path in through here. And we can maybe even bring one down this side as well. So we're still hooking in. You can't really see because of the shadow of the high school. But you know, we've got a little path connection there. And this will allow people to move around a lot easier. And then with your park fence, just go ahead and then draw, you know, that border around. You can even do it around the edge of the path, because I think what this will do is allow us to put some trees between the path and the fence, which will really help give it that kind of cemetery vibe. Now I think cemeteries can be improved endlessly with the sequel, if we ever see one. I do hope we do one day. And then we'll bring this up here. And then again, you can just kind of see the pattern that we're running with now. Bring it up to there. So I think anyway, you know, there's not vast amounts you can do with cemeteries, but just giving them a little border with some of these park fences and dirt paths just gives them a little more kind of, you know, interest. It's not just very boring. Let's kind of come out here and then we'll bring this all the way down. Kind of bring it up to the edge of each. And then you can kind of bring it along here as well. Back to this point. And then back down. And then what you can do is once you have kind of that pattern in, you can continue to decorate it, plant your suburb around it, and then just kind of take out the trees that are in the middle, so you know that it's kind of very empty and very bare at the moment, and it's something that you need to detail up either at a later date. You don't have to do it as soon as you build it. You can come back here once you kind of, you know, you're kind of stuck for something to do, you're bored of expanding, you know, you think, oh yeah, I need to come back and detail up my cemetery. So we're kind of integrating it with a walking path, which will make people kind of walk to and from different sides of town here. And you know, we'll put some nice trees in along here. You can also factor in your cemeteries and crematoriums with these things as well. But we'll definitely come back and detail this up, and then we'll kind of make it a little more important. It's not looking too bad, I don't think, at the minute. So this feels, guys, like a good place to jump into the old detailing time lapse. I would like to point out that the music you're about to hear has been commissioned by Onyx, who you know I'm a big fan of and has provided the music for all of my videos basically since the start of the channel. So enjoy the new song. If you do like it, don't forget to check the description and go ahead and follow Onyx on SoundCloud. He is a phenomenally talented producer, and you guys should be enjoying his content outside of my videos as well. So we'll be right back. Alright guys, that is going to do it for today. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, a like below is more than appreciated. You can watch if you didn't enjoy it, please feel free to leave a dislike as well. I hope you enjoyed the back-to-back episodes in the celebration of our new series, and I hope you have kind of picked up something here on how you can make forestry a little more impressive and a little more interesting. And there's still a little more work to be done around here as well, especially when we expand into the tile where the rail is. We'll definitely do some more stuff with the factory and kind of move the power and the water treatment out of this area as well, alongside the garbage. And don't forget that the next song as well, kind of the outro song, is going to be commissioned by Onyx again. If you haven't checked him out already, like I mentioned earlier, his link's in the description. Go and give him a follow on SoundCloud. He's an amazingly talented producer, and I thank you for him for all the music that is on the series. But that is it from me. I'm going to leave it there. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day.